By the end of this video, you will never open with a compliment about her appearance again. Not because it's wrong, not because women don't appreciate being found attractive, but because once you understand what actually moves a woman, what creates genuine interest rather than polite appreciation, complimenting her looks will feel like bringing a candle into a room that's wired for electricity. There's something better, something most men never find because they're never looking for it, because they've been told directly and indirectly their entire lives that telling a woman she's beautiful is the entry point, the first move, the thing that opens the door. What nobody tells them is that the door they're opening with that compliment is not the one they think it is. I'm going to show you 2 words that open a completely different door, a deeper one that women themselves often can't articulate. They just know that when a man uses them, something shifts. Something that 100 "you look beautiful tonight" moments never quite manage to reach. Here's what's actually happening when a man compliments a woman's appearance. She receives it, she thanks him, because that's what you do. And then, whether she shows it or not, some part of her brain quietly files it in a category she's had since she was a teenager. The category of things men say when they want something, not because she's cynical, not because she thinks he's lying, but because she's heard it so many times from so many men in so many contexts that it has become, for her nervous system, essentially ambient noise. Beautiful, stunning, you look amazing, you're gorgeous. All true, probably, all well-intentioned, certainly, all completely indistinguishable from every other man who's ever stood in front of her and reached for the most obvious thing. And here's the deeper problem. A compliment about her appearance, however genuine, tells her something about what you see. It doesn't tell her anything about what you notice. And women, especially the emotionally intelligent women that older men tend to attract, are not primarily looking to be seen. They're looking to be noticed. Those 2 things are completely different. Seeing is passive. It's what anyone with functioning eyes can do. Noticing is active. It requires attention, presence, a willingness to look past the surface to what's actually there. The 2 words I'm about to give you are the difference between seeing and noticing, and she will feel that difference immediately. The 2 words are, you decided. As in, you decided to wear that color. You decided to say it that way. You decided to order that even though I could tell you almost went with something else. Not, you look beautiful in that color. Not, I love the way you said that. Not, great choice. Just clean, direct, specific, you decided. These 2 words do something no appearance compliment can do. They locate her agency. They say, I'm not responding to what you look like. I'm responding to what you chose. And choices are a window into character in a way that appearance never is. Let me show you why this lands the way it does. And then I'm going to walk you through exactly how it sounds in 3 very different real situations. The psychology operating underneath you decided is respect signaling. And respect is not the same as attraction, though the 2 get constantly confused. Attraction says, I find you appealing. Respect says, I take you seriously as a person who makes deliberate choices about how she moves through the world. Attraction is something she receives. Respect is something she stands inside. When a man signals genuine respect, not performed, not tactical, but real, a woman's entire orientation toward him shifts. Because most men, even the well-meaning ones, treat women as objects of appreciation rather than subjects of observation. They appreciate how she looks. They don't observe how she thinks, how she chooses, how she constructs herself and her world through thousands of small daily decisions. You decided is the verbal signal that you're doing the second thing, not the first. That you're watching her the way a person watches another person they find genuinely interesting, not the way an audience watches a performance. And that signal, for most women, is something they've been waiting to receive for a very long time without knowing they were waiting for it. Here's the first scenario. James is 57, first date. They're at a restaurant, she arrives, she's put thought into how she looks. It's visible. The old move is, you look wonderful. She'd smile, say thank you, and they'd move on. James looks at her for a moment, then says, you decided on green. She pauses. I did. It's a specific choice. Most people would have gone safe. She sits down differently than she was planning to. Something in her posture shifts, not toward him exactly, but toward the conversation. She's already more present than she expected to be. Notice what didn't happen. He didn't say the color looks good on her. He didn't say she looks beautiful in it. He noticed that she made a deliberate choice, and he named the choice, not its effect on her appearance. That distinction is everything. She's used to men noticing the result. He noticed the decision behind the result, which means he's paying attention at a level she almost never encounters. The conversation that follows is different from the beginning because she already knows this man is watching her differently from other men, and that knowledge makes her want to show him more of how she thinks. Second scenario, different register entirely. Thomas is 63. He's been with a woman named Caroline for 6 years. They're having dinner at home. She mentions almost in passing that she handled a difficult situation at work differently than she normally would have. She stayed quiet when she usually would have spoken up, and it turned out to be the right call. Most men would say, good job, or smart move, or nod and move on. Thomas sets his fork down. You decided to hold back, he says. Caroline looks at him. Yeah, I did. That's not easy for you. I know what it costs you to do that. 2 words followed by evidence that he knows her well enough to understand what that specific choice meant for her specifically, not a generic, that was smart. A recognition of the gap between what she felt like doing and what she chose to do, and an acknowledgement that he sees that gap. She reached across the table and put her hand on his without planning to. This is you decided working in long-term territory, not to create attraction, but to maintain it. To keep delivering the experience of being truly known by someone who's been paying close enough attention to understand not just what you do, but what it costs you. That's what keeps a woman emotionally invested in a relationship years in, when the early electricity has settled into something quieter. Not grand gestures, moments like this. Third scenario. Because this one shows the phrase working in a moment of tension, which is where most men would never think to use it. Richard is 60. He and the woman he's been seeing for 3 months had a difficult conversation last week. She pulled back slightly after it, not dramatically, but noticeably. He gave her space. And then, when they finally met for coffee, she arrived, and it was clear she'd made a deliberate decision about how she was going to show up. Measured, present, willing to try. He could have said nothing about it. He could have treated it as a fresh start and moved forward. Instead, gently, without making it a bigger moment than it needed to be, he said, "You decided to come back to this." She looked at him. I did. I don't take that lightly. 4 words after the 2. I don't take that lightly. No elaborate explanation of what it means to him. No emotional speech about how much she matters. Just a clean acknowledgement that her choice to return, to try again, to not let one hard conversation close the door, was a real decision that he saw and that registered with him, she told a friend later. He's the first man I've been with who notices when I make an effort. Not when she looks nice, when she makes an effort, when she chooses something deliberately, when she brings intention to how she shows up. That is the distinction between seeing and noticing. And it is the entire difference between a man she appreciates and a man she can't stop thinking about. Now let me give you the practical layer, because you decided is specific. It can't be used indiscriminately, and it shouldn't be. Here's the standard for when it lands and when it doesn't. It lands when the decision is real. When she actually made a specific, deliberate choice about what to wear, what to say, how to handle something, what to order, how to show up, and you observed it closely enough to name it accurately. The more specific you are, the more powerful it is. It falls flat when it's generic. You decided to come here tonight, said without any real weight behind it, is not the phrase. It has to be anchored in something she actually chose that wasn't the obvious or easy path. The phrase signals that you were watching carefully enough to see the decision inside the behavior. If you weren't actually watching that carefully, she'll feel it immediately. And it deepens when followed by evidence. Not a long speech, just one sentence that shows you understand something about what that decision means for her, given who she is. You decided to speak first lands. You decided to speak first, and I know that's not comfortable for you. Lands at twice the depth. The evidence is what converts you decided from an observation into genuine knowledge. And being known, truly known, by someone who's been paying close enough attention is what women stay for. Complimenting her looks tells her what you see when you look at her. You decided tells her what you understand about who she is. One is a response to her surface. The other is a response to her interior. And the interior, her choices, her intentions, her deliberate construction of herself and her world, that's where she actually lives. That's the part of her that rarely gets seen. That's the part of her that, when a man finally notices it, makes her feel something she doesn't have easy words for. She's been complimented on her appearance hundreds of times. She's been seen the way you're about to see her, maybe twice. That's the door, and now you know how to open it. If this shifted something for you, drop decided in the comments. Just that one word. I'll know what it means. And if you want to understand the next layer, what to do after she opens up, and the one thing most men say in that moment that closes her right back down, that's exactly what the next video covers. Go watch it.